Now let's look at dominant inside position controls. The most important area of inside position is that of the torso and the neck. When we break down inside position of the torso and the neck, it is your ear to shoulder, your armpit to your hip, as well as one side of your hip to the other hip. The head is one of the most dominant grips from top position in jiu-jitsu. It controls the space between the ear and the shoulder. You must always be searching for head control when you're on top, and always be preventing it from being controlled when you're on the bottom. Both should be top priorities. Understand this jiu-jitsu theory rule: where the head goes, the body must follow. From top position, grabbing your opponent's head will prevent them from being able to turn into you, prevent them from pointing their frames towards you. They cannot turn their body if they cannot turn their head. This is accomplished primarily through a crossface. There are two types of crossfaces: a deep crossface where you have your bicep and shoulder on your opponent's face, and a shallow crossface where you use your forearm to control your opponent's head. Both offer great control, and generally a shallow crossface is used when you cannot get a deep crossface in time. You must always be searching for head control because it's a dominant inside position grip. The reverse is also true and leads us into another rule of jiu-jitsu theory: never let someone grab your head. You need to always be protecting your head from control. This will make a huge difference in the success that you have grappling. In fact, this is a concept that viewers on my YouTube channel consistently tell me has made one of the largest impacts on their grappling success. You need to be controlling your opponent's far arm to stop them from grabbing it. This can be accomplished by gripping their arm with your hand, which has the dual purpose of protecting the head, and you can use that grip to attack the arm. You can also use your T-Rex arms, which grip and frame against your opponent's far arm. See here, I'm controlling my opponent's far arm, preventing it from grabbing my head. After I sweep him, I go right to controlling his head, as he wasn't doing anything to stop me. He wasn't using his T-Rex arms, and I hit an easy pass as a result. Using your T-Rex arms accomplishes two things. It grips and frames on your opponent's far arm to prevent them from grabbing your head, as well as close off space to prevent underhooks. Because remember, you don't just need to grip and frame, you also need to close space. You need to keep your elbows tight like a T-Rex. Always remember your T-Rex arms.
It's extremely important to control the head, because where the head goes, the body must follow. So if the head can't move, the body can't move either. So for example, you can take a crossface, and to take a deep crossface, what I recommend is putting your middle finger into the armpit like this and pulling your partner closer to you so you can get a tight grip with your shoulder. So from here, my partner should not be able to turn towards me because I have so much pressure. Exactly, if I had a loose crossface like this, he's gonna be able to escape much easier. So we need to take a deep crossface and stop him from turning towards me. So this stops him from turning towards me. I also need to stop him from turning away from me. So what I can do is use my underhook to do that. So if Mike tries to turn away, I've got my underhook to stop him. We always need to be stopping our opponent from grabbing our head, and what they use to grab it is their far arms. We need to control their far arms. So T-Rex arms, it's just like the name implies, it's like a T-Rex. You keep your elbows close to your body and you have your arms out like this. So here, it's gonna be very hard for him to grab my head. So try to grab my head, Mike. Exactly, I've got my T-Rex arms. Alternatively, I can also grab his wrist with my hand, and a benefit of this, we can attack it a lot easier. We can take our knee shield out, start going for Kimuras or go for sweeps. Just very important to control the far arm, because again, the goal of this arm is to grab the head. The goal of this arm is to grab underhooks. So we need to close space and we need to frame, we need to search for inside position for ourselves. So for example, if I have a knee shield in like this, right, this is stopping me from getting close, taking the underhook. If I don't have the knee shield, then I can still frame with my arm. But if I keep it too flared out, he could circle in his own underhook. If you can't frame or take inside position, you need to close space. So for example, I could keep my elbow close to me as Mike tries to grab an underhook. He can't.
Underhooks control the space between the armpit and the hip. Underhooks can be used for takedowns, sweeps, passes, back takes, submissions, and more. You need to be searching for underhooks as well as preventing underhooks. See here, my opponent tries to take an underhook for himself, but I circle my arm to the inside to occupy the inside space in front of his torso. Now I'm able to take an underhook for myself because he wasn't also adequately closing space. He wasn't keeping his elbow tight. See here, I'm fighting to prevent underhooks at all costs. Every time my opponent tries to take one on me, I respond to prevent it. If I were to let him take an underhook on me, he'd be able to isolate my arm and possibly submit me. Understand that bottom mount is one of the few positions that you don't want to take an underhook for yourself, as you risk your arm being isolated and attacked as you separate your elbows from your body, but you absolutely need to prevent them.
Underhooks are used to keep your partner close to you or to take an angle. So for example, if I'm here, I take an underhook on Mike, I can use it to take an angle on him. So I can pull him forward, start coming around, taking the back. But most people will overhook when you take an underhook, and because they have inside position, they can do the same thing. They can keep you close. So if I'm here, I take an underhook and Mike overhooks, I can't take an angle. But because the underhook connects me to him, and now I can sweep him. So where I go, he's gonna go. In top position, you can't use your underhook to take angles because the mat is in the way. So you use it to connect yourself to them. So if I have an underhook on Mike here, I use it to connect myself to him. So now if he tries to break the chest to torso connection, he can't because of my underhook. If I don't have an underhook and say I have outside space, well, he might use that to change his angle.
If your opponent takes an underhook on you, you must use what's available to grip or frame. An example of gripping when your opponent underhooks is using an overhook. An overhook is often a great counter to an underhook. You take the arm that's underhooked and loop it underneath the armpit, which is inside position. However, your opponent has more inside position with their underhook than you do with your overhook, and depending on the situation, it can be better to frame instead to defend their underhook. An example of framing to counter an underhook would be from standing, when you can use your head to frame against your opponent when they underhook, so that you can make space and circle in your own underhook. You can overhook first so your back doesn't get taken, and then circle in your own underhook. Alternatively, you could just use your overhook. Hip control. You must control your opponent's hips in Jiu-Jitsu and prevent your hips from being controlled. Lack of hip control leads to the majority of attacks and escapes in Jiu-Jitsu. Hip control will limit the mobility of your opponent, similar to controlling the head. If your opponent cannot move their hips, then they cannot move their body, which brings us to another Jiu-Jitsu theory rule: where the hips go, the body must follow. The following clips should make it quite clear that where you move the hips, you move the body. If you pin your opponent's hips, they cannot move their body. Therefore, if you cannot control the head, you must control the hips. And if you cannot control the hips, then you must control the head. Remember, the more inside position, the better. The goal is to control both the hips and the head to have maximum control over your opponent. We will look further into how to control the hips in specific situations in Jiu-Jitsu later on in this course. For chest to torso connection, you can connect your chest to your opponent's chest or your chest to your opponent's back. Your chest acts as the seat in the car seatbelt analogy. Therefore, you must always be looking to position your chest on your opponent's torso, whether it be on their chest or their back. Additionally, you should always be looking to pin your opponent's torso to the mat. This acts as an additional car seat on their torso. Remember that the more inside position that you can take, the better. If you don't pin your opponent's back to the mat, they may be able to turn their body to get onto their side, and if they're on their side, you lose chest to torso connection. If you lose chest-to-chest connection, you must decide whether you want to regain it or take chest-to-back connection, as if they're on their side, their back isn't hidden by the mat, and it may be available to get that chest-to-back connection. And if you lose chest-to-back connection, you can take chest-to-chest connection instead. Either way, you need chest-to-torso connection. The way that you pin your opponent's back to the mat is by using chest-to-torso connection, control of the head, and control of the hips. If you prioritize these three things, then you will control your opponent. Additionally, you must prioritize preventing these three things from happening to you. We will look at how these concepts apply to specific situations later on in the course.
So what we need is chest-to-torso connection. So for example, if I have the back, I have chest-to-back connection. So this would be the car seat of a car, but if I only have the seat, I don't have the seatbelt itself, it's not going to control him. So if I'm here like this and I only have the car seat, he can get out very easy. If I only have the shoulder straps and I didn't have the car seat, he'd also be able to get out. So we need the seat and the seatbelt itself to control someone. So for this example, our arms act as the shoulder strap of the seatbelt, and then our hooks act as the waist strap. So from here, I can control Mike because I have all the points of the seatbelt and I have that seat of the car seat. And when we're in other positions like side control, the seat is just on his chest instead. So if I only have chest-to-chest connection, if I only have the seat of the car on his chest, he can move very easily. That's why you also need the straps of the seatbelt. So we're here like this, I have the seatbelt, hence my seatbelt grips, and I have my chest-to-torso connection. This is what controls him. So for example, in half guard, what makes a good half guard or a bad half guard is who has the grips. So if I have the seatbelt grips on Mike here, I have the seat of the car on his chest, and I also have the seatbelt on him. If I don't have that seatbelt, but he has inside position grips on me, well, now I'm not doing too good. So for example, if he blocks me from grabbing his head and he takes an underhook on me, right? Even if I get that chest to torso connection, he can use his inside position to start attacking. I can't control him because my arms are on the outside. Here it's on the outside space, and same thing with here, it's on the outside of his arm. So from here, Mike would have more inside position on me than I'd have on him. I could grab his head, but he'll have more inside position on me than I have on him because he's got the underhook and he's stopping me from grabbing his head with this arm or getting underneath the elbow. So here, he has inside position with his arm, he has it with his other arm as well, and I have outside position here, but inside position here. So again, he has more than I do. So that's why we don't want to grab the head like this. We want to grab the head like this because we have more inside position. So the same thing can be said about underhooks. So Mike wants to look for underhooks with this arm, right? He wants to take an underhook here. If Mike takes an underhook with this arm, it gives me access to his head.